Borderlands 4 has certainly shaken the franchise up, and whereas it's a game that revels in chaos and crazy, that doesn't mean that you can't be well prepared when heading into it. So here are 7 things you need to know before starting, whether you're a seasoned vault hunting vet or someone who thinks a claptrap is just a fancy Roomba. First up, you gotta know that Borderlands 4 has cranked up the difficulty compared to past games, and you'll feel it most in the boss fights. They're not just bullet sponges anymore. Bosses are more mechanics, higher damage output, and require you to think carefully about your strategy and your loadout. That means it's worth paying extra attention to your skill tree choices, your weapon synergies, and even those elemental matchups. If you're the kind of player who normally wings it with whatever loot drops and whatever build, you might struggle a bit more this time. If you find yourself really struggling, you can always grind out a few levels and come back to the bosses stronger, but it's smarter to go into those fights prepared rather than relying purely on luck and firepower. Build with intention and you'll save yourself a lot of frustration. And speaking of build, did you know that you can find all of the best and coolest builds from your favorite creators over at Mobalytics.gg? There's stuff for every Wait, what's that sound? Oh no, it's the sellout police. Run! One of the biggest shifts in Borderlands 4 is how the story unfolds. Instead of being locked into a strict sequence of missions, you can complete main story objectives in more or less any order. This gives you a lot of freedom to explore the massive open world of Kairos at your own pace. Do you want to jump straight into a certain storyline? That's cool. Do you prefer to wander around doing side quests and chasing loot before tackling the next big mission? Totally valid as well. The game doesn't punish you for exploring, in fact it highly encourages it, and this flexibility means every playthrough can feel different. I think this will be especially handy for those of you who plan to play in co-op, since you and your friends don't have to stress about whether you're breaking the story progression by doing things out of order. The narrative is designed to adapt around your choices, which makes it easier to focus on the fun rather than worrying about missing something. Next, some good news for those who like experimenting with multiple vault hunters. In Borderlands 4, once you completed the campaign, you can skip straight to the endgame on subsequent playthroughs. So that means no FOMO and no fretting about which character you choose to play. If you get to the end with Harlow and decide you're more of an Amon guy, that's cool. You don't have to sit through the story and you can jump straight into the endgame with him. This is a massive time saver compared to past games where replaying the story multiple times was pretty much mandatory. So don't feel pressured when you're creating your first character. There's no risk of being stuck in campaign jail while you find out who you actually want to play. You can treat your first playthrough as your big story run and then focus purely on farming, experimenting and min-maxing with future vault hunters. Another thing to know is that grenades have been completely reworked in Borderlands 4 and are now part of a brand new Ordnance system. Instead of relying on ammo drops like in previous games, your ordnance slot works on a cooldown. This means you can use powerful tools like grenades, rockets, or heavy machine guns without worrying about running out of ammo. The cooldown mechanic encourages you to use your ordnance more liberally. There's no reason now why it can't even be part of your core combat rotation, not just a backup. The system also opens the door to different strategies depending on what ordnance you equip. Do you want consistent crowd control? Then maybe grenades will be your friend. Any big burst damage? Or the rockets will do the trick for that. Key tip here is don't forget to use it, since it's cooldown based. Sitting on your ordnance is a complete waste now. Another new addition in Borderlands 4, sort of like the friendly version of the Ordnance system, it's the RepKit, which functions as a rechargeable healing item. It works on a charge-based cooldown, meaning you don't have to hoard health packs or panic about low HP as much as in past games. Instead, you'll regenerate charges over time, letting you top yourself up during fights. This system encourages a more aggressive playstyle now. You can take risks, dive into tougher encounters, and you know you have a safety net as long as you manage your charges wisely. It also makes solo play smoother, since you're less reliant on lucky health drop spawns. Just like the Ordnance though, the RepKit works best if you actually use it, so don't sit on charges waiting for the perfect time. This isn't Skyrim, we're not hoarding 50 odd cheese wedges just in case. Heal up, stay alive, and keep the momentum going. That's what it's there for. Very significant changes in Borderlands 4 is that the minimap is now gone. They really want you to focus on the exploration in this one. Instead of a minimap, Borderlands 4 uses a compass at the top of your screen to orientate you. At first, no doubt that feels strange if you're used to glancing at a corner minimap every few seconds, but the compass actually makes exploration feel more immersive since you're looking at the world instead of staring at an overlay. That being said, Gearbox knows not everyone loves change, and the minimap had more benefits than just navigation, so there's also now a combat radar option tucked away in the settings. Switching this on means during fights you'll have a surround bad guy indicator, all in the name of situational awareness. You don't have to use it if you don't want to, but combat can get pretty chaotic. The point is, you've got options. Try giving just the compass a shot. It might add to that, wide world immersion as mentioned before, as immersive as a game like Borderlands can be. But of course, if combat gets a little too hairy, then the radar is there to help. The last tip we're going to give you today is a godsend for the hoarders out there. It's about your SDUs, the storage deck upgrades. In past Borderlands games, you could just visit your ATM machine for your SDU upgrades to increase your backpack size, ammo capacity, your storage slots, but not anymore. In Borderlands 4, SDUs are now tied to exploration and discovery. That means if you want to expand your carrying capacity early, you'll need to get out into the world, search hidden spots, and track down collectible rewards. It's a change that puts more emphasis on exploration rather than just farming dosh. And if you go into Borderlands 4 blind, finding yourself running out of inventory space and thinking it's okay, I'll just buy up some more, then yeah, you're gonna have a bad time. Personally, I think this is a really cool change. Finding your upgrades feels way more rewarding than simply buying them, and it gives you an incentive to explore beyond the main story missions. That being said, your SDUs are not account-wide, they are unique to each character, so maybe the magic of exploration will wear off come your 3rd or 4th Vault Hunter. Either way, if you're wondering why your backpack feels tiny in the early game, don't panic. Get out there, start scouting around, and you'll steadily expand your inventory while uncovering some pretty cool secrets along the way. And that'll do it for the 7 changes you need to know before starting Borderlands 4. I'm very curious though, what do you think about the changes to the SDUs and the minimap? Do you think it's a good thing or a not so good thing? The community seems to be very polarized on this one, so I'd love to know what you think down below in the comments. Don't forget, for all things Borderlands 4, keep it dialed to Mobalytics.gg, link in the description. I have to whisper just in case they're listening. Have a lovely day, and we'll see you next time.